Hello everyone and welcome to today's TELedvisors webinar. We're looking at the support sites that we're offering in a number of our institutions. We have three guests with us today. We have Danny Liu from University of Sydney, we have Jamie Fulcher from Monash, and we have Simone Poulsen from Griffith. Simone Poulsen is a project manager within Learning Futures at Griffith University. She is the project manager for the development of Explore, an online tool created for the purpose of sharing teaching and educational technology practices. Over to you, Simone.
Thank you. I've just in the chat, I've actually put the link to go to Explore, so if everybody would like to have a look at that at some stage as well. Let me just get my sharing screen thing going on here. Okay, so within Explore, we have different ways of sharing. Much the background between why we built Explore was when I first started at Griffith back in 2001, each of our schools were holding information on their individual servers. So we had business who would have their information, then health would have theirs, and there wasn't a lot of sharing or collaborating going on, and essentially people were creating the same thing over and over again. So what it was, we went through and we started working on producing this application where we could actually house all of our teaching practices, educational technology, learning experiences, professional learning, development tools, everything all within one central repository. And then it was easily searched from there. So within here we have, it's easy to, you just type in your keyword and you can click on search. It's Boolean searching through there. We have what we call our highlights bar. So when we have new entries that people contribute, we can put them up here and it sort of gives them a bit of showcase for so many days, and then we swap them out. We put new content up there. We can also use it as a bit of a marketing tool. So if we've got workshops coming up, we can have them listed up here. So we'll have things like pebble pads happening, we'll put the workshops up there. Or if we've got workshops coming up for our online planning and portal, we'll put things there. The big ones in there at the moment relate to our graduate attributes because that's a big ticket project that we're working on. So hence why there's a lot of things within there that are graduate attribute related. So we also have a little sentence builder. So if they don't really know what they're looking for, they want to have a bit of a browse, they can say, okay, well, what do I want to do? I want to, let me see, I want to teach. And as it goes through, it starts to narrow down each of the search results. So what do I want to teach? I want to teach maybe using technology. And then once again, it also tends to narrow down the search results then for everything that relates to that. And then for what? So it might be for active learning, because that might be a big ticket thing that they're looking at the moment. So what it does then is it narrows your search results right down to everything that fits in within that little sentence structure. So within here, it's showing things that are tagged as a general resource. We have some educational technology. We have another entry type that we call a faculty spark. This is where an academic can approach us and say, hey, this is what I'm doing in my teaching practice at the moment. I'd really like to have this as an entry because I want to share out the things that I've learned. So one thing we'll have a quick look at is we'll have a look at the educational technology one for the Coastal Life of Southeast Queensland. This was an application that here within Learning Futures we created for one of our schools. It has a little bit of information about it, has a bit of an overview. Lets people know if you're thinking about using this within your teaching practice, these are some considerations you have to take into account. This is the type of technology that you'll need for your students if they're going to use this. If you'd like to implement it, this is who you contact, support resources, who it's brought to you by. But a really good one is people can actually share their experiences if they've used this application before. So they can type a little entry within there and then share it out. And other people who go in and have a look at the entry within Explore, they can also comment as well to those individual entries. So that was something that was kind of really cool. People can also like it and vote for it. So give it a bit of a thumbs up. If they've got if they really, really like it, they can add it to their favorites, and then they can also view the experiences, which is the bit down the bottom. So within here, even though we'll have academics talking about how they embed graduate attributes within their teaching practice, we also have areas where people can go through and they can talk about their use of a specific type of technology. So what we did was I sort of sat down with one of our academics who is using Echo 360 within her teaching practice. So she talked about the challenge that she was having. So her big ticket thing was trying to get students engaged and increase her active learning. So she talks about the approach that she used, the software that she used, what her outcomes were. So we gather all of the outcomes, both good and bad, because we think that you can learn from the bad as well as the good. And it's also a little bit of a way of letting people know, okay, it may not 100% work for you in this particular setting, but whatever you can take back from it and then maybe change it or reapply it differently is something, it's kind of something that you can learn from. We all learn from our mistakes, basically. So this is how she went through and she implemented it. If there was anything specifically she wanted to go through and change, she's put through into her next steps as well, and then people can go through and share their experiences. They can also share the entries to social media. So we've got Yammer here on campus, so they can go through Yammer, Twitter, Facebook, or Google. However, if they've looked at it, they've read it, and they've said, well, actually, I want to contribute something, they can click on the contribute button. It opens up a page where you can go through and you can actually put a little bit of information in there about what your ideas are. The email comes through to myself and the development. We then contact whoever has hit the contributing button, sit down, have a bit of a talk to them, find out what their story is, take them to the studio. All of our entries have a small 3 to 5 minute video attached. We try to do that so that it sort of personifies it a little bit, puts a face to a name as well, because we're finding that it's pretty cool that, are we still there? Are we still sharing?
It seems to have dropped off.
That's okay, let me try that again. Okay. We're back?
That's better.
Excellent, cool. So what we sort of found was we put the videos up because people were sort of going to all of our events that we have here on campus, and it was cool because you'd see the person in the video, and then you'd rock up to one of our celebrating teaching events and you'd go, oh, they did an entry about blah, 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 blah with an Explore. I'd like to learn more about that. And then it sort of started that conversation, and people would walk up and say, hey, I really liked what you did using Echo 360 or using PebblePad. Can I talk to you about that? And people would be like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm happy to share. So it was really good because everybody was sharing what they've learned, and rather than recreating the wheel again, we're finding that people are talking more, which is scary in a way, because once upon a time, yeah, exactly, building communities of practice. It was funny because once upon a time, people just didn't share those things because they sort of kept it to themselves. But now we're finding that more people are talking, people are contacting us all the time. We've got entries and ideas for more content coming through. And while Explore is relatively new, it's only really been out for a couple of months, we've got people who are contacting us all the time. Hey, I really like that resource. I want to get my sort of information in there, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I really enjoy working on it, and I just love the fact that it's helping people learn and share their ideas at the same time. So yeah, so that's pretty much me.
That's fantastic. I've been looking at all of these presentations and just going, yeah, I'm just going to steal all your ideas. So thanks. So we have just having a look through the chat. So Kate, oh, hang on, there's a lot of chat going on, so I can't even keep up with it. So Kate, I guess, was saying it's a great resource, but maybe it's hard to replicate on smaller resources, she suspects. How easy to update is it? E.g. technologies will change, or staff might want to put up an update of how it's changed over time. How do you go about keeping it up to date?
group of people who go through, we've got educational designers here within our department, and we have a little web go through, and it checks all of the links frequently to make all of our links, make sure they're all available. I'm looking at this thing every day as well. So we have educational designers who are constantly checking it. People come up to us and say, hey, that entry that I put in has changed now, I'd like to update it. We have citations within the entries as well. So a lot of the people content in, they like referring back to it to sort of see, and then they let us know if things have changed. But I go in there and I scan of it pretty much every day to check it. I'm checking the emails every day to see what's coming through as contributions. It is really easy to update as well. And for small devices and stuff, it's also responsive right down to a mobile phone. So we have it able to be loaded down to that, pretty much very small size, but it's still in its infancy and there's a whole heap more changes for it. So we're always welcome to take any feedback that we get as well.
Cool. So Danny's just asking what platform you're running, or what software it's using, and is this available for others to use or implement?
We're using Symphony as our background for it. We're using Symphony with a little bit of Laravel, and it's so much an out-of-the-box kind of thing. We have a developer who is excellent with making changes and accommodating unusual requests through from our product owner. So yeah, I'm really lucky to have the team that I have. But we sort of had a look around different platforms, and we used to have it on a separate one, but we've just found that Symphony seems to be the software that works at the moment.
Okay, and then Kate was just asking how big the team is, and is there actually a budget for managing this?
This product was actually produced a couple of years ago, so we've repurposed it, and there's pretty much only in the team at the moment. So there's myself, there's a web applications developer and a multimedia developer, part-time graphic designer who comes in and sort of changes icons and does a bit of a look and feel, because we do have to comply with our style guide for the whole of Griffith University. So we have certain colors, we have to use certain fonts, that kind of thing. So every so often we tend to sort of pull in people from other teams. So we do have a budget. I'm not 100% sure what the exact figures are, but most of us are sort of part-time on this while also working time on other projects at the same time. So it's about, it's not a massive budget.
Cool. No, that makes sense. All right. As I say, this has been fantastic, and I really appreciate this. Does anyone else have any other questions? Oh, Andy had a question. Where's Andy? Oh, how do you evaluate the success of the platform, and what are the measures used?
We pull a lot of analytics from the back. So we have a lot of data collection that we do for how many hits we have to the site, which entries are being clicked on the most, that kind of thing. We collect all of that data and have a look at that. We also have a lot of updates that we have to provide to learning and teaching within each of the schools on which schools have contributed, what entries, and who's contributing. And it's funny, even though there used to be the silos on the school, the silos of each school still kind of happen, and you might hear, oh, that school's put more entries in than I have. I better get my teaching team together to go through and put more entries in. So it sort of helps a little bit with populating more content within the site. But we tend to pull all those statistics out at least once a month, and then we present it to our director of teaching here on campus, and they sort of take a look at it and go, oh, okay, well, I need to up my marketing as well to sort of push the application out to everybody and refer everyone back. But yeah, we're constantly watching it just to sort of see how important and how useful it is. And feedback that we're getting is that it is positioned quite well in all the schools for the usage.
Fantastic. All right, I might just wrap this up here, because we've just got Sue Tucker. We've got a tea walk event booked in for next week, which we sort of talked about in previous webinars. So if people can just show their appreciation to Simone, and thanks again for sharing.
Thank you.